Good evening. I'm not quite sure what I'm going to talk about tonight. For those who have seen me before, those who have heard my voice, well, if you're on the right track, this is Raphael. And I have a little story, as I had a little thought. How did Nostradamus know that in some way his explanation ended up to be as it was deciphered by some intelligent men, that the Twin Towers were announced in the 1500s as Nostradamus lived? If I can remember, and do not forget, what I remembered does not mean it is right. Although I'm trying to tell you this truth, I try my best. But sometimes my truth might be a fable, but it is my story. Feel that it is my truth, yet to me, in all reality, it would be a lie. So I would be telling a lie, which would keep me unpure, which would make man unpure, because that is what's happening here on this earth. There is war, and we were all unpure. Obviously, if we were all pure, we would follow the law. I shall serve the Creator who created us. And you know the rest of the story with the love and the heart and the whole thing. But anyways, let's get back to Nostradamus, okay? What I have here is a little small illustration, if I can get it straight there. You see the Twin Towers? Right? Located in New York City, known as the Big Apple. Now, as you remember, for those who are old enough, we all thought we were silly. Let's bring an apple to our teacher for the first day. For we do not even know her, and we bring the apple in good faith, as like Pinocchio did. Yet the story he began didn't end up where he thought it would be, as he veered from the road, as it is not always safe to veer from the road. So when you do veer from the road, you should know before you leave where to veer off, and if it is safe, and take all precautions when it does happen. So back to Nostradamus, and back to the apple. As the apple hit Isaac Newton in the head, and he had a great idea. And guess what? The apple hit me in the head, and I had a good idea. Is my idea great? It's only as great as your mind can make it. For you count first. But if you count first hurting someone else, you shouldn't count at all. Then you're not nice and you're not fair. People don't want to know unnice and not fair people. We all want to know people with good reasons that are nice. And we all have a good reason to be nice. So now we go, what we have are these Twin Towers. And now we know about the apple. And now we know about New York City. So we do know that Snow White, is it Snow White who ate the poisonous apple and went to sleep until the prince came to kiss her and wake her up? So it's all about the apple. So we question ourselves. The apple is good, the apple is bad, man is good, man is bad. But the Twin Towers, when the brothers go against each other and divide, what does that equal? You see? What does it equal? You see, the Twin Towers had to come down because it equals nothing. Unless you ask the real question about man. You see, if man had any value and truth and fairness in him, the Twin Towers would be up. As the two brothers would be speaking, they would not be mad, they would not be at war with each other, and then they would turn their heads. Thus, turning their heads is not possible, as in the universe the rock that does not move gets smashed and turns to dust, as like the wood that burns, the fire, as the ashes turn to dust, as like you no longer live, and if you live backwards, it turns into the devil. We have the answer right here in the Twin Towers. The Twin Towers had to come down to make it all right, because man is not right, and man is no longer together. So the Twin Towers, which is regards to man, had to come down. And that's what Nostradamus meant. But now, We have a story, and that's my story. Is it the true story? It's a story I thought was the most logic, that made the most common sense. I mean, if God was to show us something, how would he do it? He doesn't say anything. But does he say anything at all? Look in the last 100 years, all the knowledge that we gained. Where did that come from? Who asked the right questions? Does anybody understand this? One is soul, one is angel, the equal sign, the twin towers, the purity. You see the middle, what it says there? Here, let me try and fix it. It says spirit. You see that? Plus sign, right? Spirit.com, the universal communication. You see what happens is that spirit is actually the communication. It's a completely separate line. It only runs two ways. It runs to the angel and it runs back to the soul, and they communicate together. But you cannot communicate if you have interference on the internet. If you do not have two standing walls, like Norton's firewalls, to block all the viruses, then how can you leave out desire, as we all desire? And how do we know when to stop the desire? When is the desire too much? We must all restore ourselves to an earlier time when we were pure. And when was that? Oh, that's simple. I was very young. I asked a question, but I had no wisdom. I had no substance. I had no value, but I was young, so I was learning. So at that time I asked the question, I must have asked it to somebody, although there was nobody around. So therefore I am asking it to myself. Now since I am pure, I laugh after that and giggle because I'm a child and I know no better, and I get the answer from my angel, which is the spirit, because the spirit is the one that transmits the communication, just like the internet. That's why they brought back the internet. You see, it was man, okay, that was taught this. Then man taught man. But now man is killing man. So does man have anything else to learn? I've learned a lot. Every time I say anything. You see, I used to be nervous if I did this, but I'm no longer nervous, because if I make a mistake, it's okay. Because I didn't do it purposely. Because if I did it on purpose, my purpose would be no good, because I would be a liar, not telling the truth. Then no one would listen. I would have no friends. And if you lie, and if you lie to the primary source that gave us the reason to want to live, the reason to want to find the answer, is all man wants to find the answer. Man is never satisfied unless he has the answer. So when will man be satisfied? When will man accept the truth when it's in front of him? It's so simple. How come man is so blind to the truth? Well, what you have to do is just keep expanding his page so large until it's all distorted. Therefore, we can never see the truth. As our desire, we are so corrupt. We've corrupted ourselves and lost all. Our vitality is running out as we no longer know the truth because we tell ourselves not the truth. Therefore, the spirit that we think is communicating with the angel is communicating with the devil, because by going and desiring impure thoughts all the time and not knowing them as for the truth, then how do you know what a lie is? And if you look the truth in the face, would he be your friend or would he be a liar? And a liar is never your friend, because if he lies sometimes, he lies all the times, because either you do or you don't. For now, we're going to let you be. Don't forget the apple. Isaac Newton, the Twin Towers. Oh yes. 1 and 1. 1 and 1 is 1. Don't you see how it works? You see the communication over here, right? Connects the soul to the angel. But the only time the communication works, and if you check the Quebec flag out, it's got a white cross in the center for purity. That's the only time communication works without a virus, when the soul is pure. When the soul decides, because the soul has the last decision. Even though he asks the angel, even if the angel tells him what's right, the soul has the last decision. And when he remains pure, and he speaks to the angel, Together they can connect. And this is the only time in life that this answer will only be this answer. 1 plus 1 equals 1. Because the soul, which is man, which is the story of man, my name is Raphael, and that is my story. Now, whether the story is a fable or a story, whether I told a lie or not, it's my lie, and I have to live with a lie. Therefore, I would be impure. Therefore, the connection of the spirit to the angel would not work, leaving a virus. Therefore, I can never connect to the angel. Therefore, the answer would still be 1, but it would be empty, because it would have no story. The story is the substance the angel gets from being here on the planet and understanding it. So the soul, which is the human being here on earth, which is the extension of the angel, together with the angel, who they were all one together before it all started, equals to 1 again. Although if you really want to look at it, it is 2, because about the creator, you would have nothing. So then the creator and the angel with 1 and 1 is now 2. So then you would have the answer on earth. So then man can understand how 1 and 1 is 2, but in heaven 1 and 1 is 1. Thank you for now. And one more story. That all man believes that 10 is perfect, or 100% is perfect. But how do we get to these figures? You see, if we begin at 0, if we begin at 0, okay, and we count 10, the only area we get to is 9. You see, God taught us right. You see, because this is how it works. Our 10 fingers gets us to 9. Now, we can always better ourselves from 9 to 10. But if you want 10 and you start at 0, you must have 11. Because there is no 10 without 11. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I got 10 fingers here, but I only reached to 9. What's going on? We need perfection, so we need 11, which is the 10% difference. And that's the 10% that our brains have. And that's why we only can use 10% of our brains. Calculate the whole thing. The whole thing is, God didn't give it to us in gases. He didn't give it to us in complicated things. He gave it to us in jokes and riddles and rhymes. You just have to know which riddle to which rhyme, what shape and what design, what to look for. If you throw everything in the air, it'll never land on the floor and give you an answer. So I didn't throw it in the air. I took a large space that takes up no space. I looked over and at it, and I placed it and tossed it and turned it. And I moved nothing at all, and I can go to bed right on top of it. And I get the answer because that's in my brain. I have all the space in the world. Thus, being connected to my angel and being pure, I now have all the space in the universe. Now, where does the power come from? Well, it's pretty easy. If they poke you and poke you and poke you, for some people, it's not so bad. For some people, it knocks out their ego. Ego, in French, esprit. E, for internet. How I thought of the connection, ego. Did they not pronounce a letter like in Da Vinci Code? Put the D at the end, it's E-God, the internet God, the way to connect to the angel, the reason and how to. Who gave me the how-to book? I had to figure it out all on my own. And there's so much more. It almost never ends because you never know it all. And isn't that great? It gives you the desire to know more. And that's the desire that is good. And if you share that desire, everybody wants to know that desire. And if that desire is good and that desire is pure, then the angel accepts it, and he invites that desire of you, of the soul, the desire of the soul, he invites into the house of God, because it is pure. And my desire is to share all those who believe in the way I think. Because don't forget, it is only the way I think that I find logic, common sense. Because if I'm wrong, that's fine. And if I'm right, it's fine. It's always better when you're right. More people want to know the good things. And when you're right, it's usually a good thing. Because you get high marks when you're right, and you get no marks when you're wrong. So therefore, when I'm wrong, it's still okay. I tried my best. And that's what counts. And that's